About 14% of your students are international. Are you concerned they won't be able to come back to school in September?
I'm very concerned, not only about Wesleyan, but about higher education in the United States. One of the great things about our system of education is that it attracts people from all over the world who want to come to America to learn. And while they're here learning, they learn about our country, our values, our freedoms. And this is really an act of intimidation to scare schools into towing the line of the current administration. It really has nothing to do with national security or with anti-Semitism. This heightened scrutiny is meant to instill fear on college campuses, and I'm afraid it is working.
Well, it is noticeable, sir, that, at a time when so many higher education institutions, Harvard, Columbia, Brown, have had federal funding revoked because of their policies, we find heads of universities are fearful of speaking out. Why are you not afraid of speaking critically?
Oh, I am. I'm afraid too, but I just find it extraordinary that Americans are afraid to speak out, especially people who, run colleges, universities. Why? This is a free country. I've been saying it my whole life. I used to tell my parents that when I didn't want to do something, I would say, it's a free country. And this idea that we're supposed to actually conform to the ideologies in the White House, it's not just bad for Harvard or for Wesleyan. It's bad for the whole country because journalists are being intimidated, law firms are being intimidated, churches, synagogues, and mosques will be next. We have to defend our freedoms. And when we bring international students here, what they experience is what it's like to live in a free country. And we can't let the president change the atmosphere so that people come here and are afraid to speak out.
But there are also some specific criticisms being lodged by members of the administration. Do you think that higher education has become too dependent on federal funding, for example, or money from foreign donors? Are there legitimate criticisms?
There are lots of legitimate criticisms of higher education. I don't think overdependence on federal funding is the issue. Most of the federal funding you hear the press talk about are contracts to do specific kinds of research that are really great investments for the country. However, the criticisms of colleges and universities that we have monoculture, that we don't have enough intellectual diversity, that's a criticism I've been making of my own school and of the rest of higher education for years. I think we can make improvements, but the way we make improvements is not by just lining up behind a president, whoever that happens to be. We make improvements by convincing our faculty and students to broaden our perspectives, to welcome more political and cultural views, not to line up and conform to the ideology of those in power. But yes, we have work to do to clean up our own houses, and we ought to get to it. But to do it under the gun of an aggressive authoritarian administration, that will lead to a bad outcome.